Really not surprising given all of the months of unrest, not to mention the violence out there.
You're right. We have, of course, been hearing that the economy will contract this year for the full year 2019. Now, Paul Chan, the Financial Secretary, saying in his blog that he expects a further contraction in the fourth quarter. If you look at how the economy is doing this year, you can see that there have in fact been two straight quarters of a recession, or two quarters of contraction rather, back to back, second quarter and third quarter, meaning that technically the Hong Kong economy is in recession. The numbers for the fourth quarter come out in a couple of months from now, but Paul Chan did say that he'd be looking at helping businesses and also helping revive the economy in his budget speech, which will come in February. This chart in the Bloomberg terminal will show exactly how the economy has been doing in the last few quarters. In October, of course, we saw that retail sales plunged more than 24% year on year. That followed an 18% drop, a more than 18% drop in September, the fourth straight month of double-digit declines in retail sales. Retail sales, of course, a main driver for the Hong Kong economy. And October was significant because that is usually a peak month for retailers because of a surge in mainland visitors. And mainland visitors really have been dropping precipitously in the last few months, given the unrest and the violence in Hong Kong, which has been, of course, deterring many of them from coming here. But don't forget, though, even before the protests, we were already talking about the fact that Hong Kong was starting to lose its shine as a shopping mecca for mainland tourists because the increasing numbers of mainland middle class were able to travel further. You know, if you want to buy Chanel, you can go to Paris and buy it straight from your stores there. So, yes, the protests have been a big factor, but the shine is starting to come off Hong Kong's shopping already a little bit before the protests.
Ros, in terms of those protests, is there any hope that there might be some relief from them in 2020?
I think many of the authorities and the lawmakers here are realistically thinking that these protests are set to continue. Perhaps not in as large scale as we've seen in the last few months, for example, the siege that we saw at some of the universities. But as we saw last week over Christmas and over the weekend, there have been smaller scale protests, tear gas being fired and clashes between protesters and police ongoing. And there is going to be another rally planned for January 1st. This has been planned by the Civil Human Rights Front, which has organised some of the biggest protests in the last few months here in Hong Kong. That was given approval by authorities for January 1st. So likely we'll be seeing a big gathering on that day.